So, hi everyone. We have Praveen with us, who has done his master's in the US. He's been working across multiple tech firms in the Bay Area and San Francisco. So, he's been seeing a lot of AI adoption happening across the industry. It is disrupting the entire ecosystem of software, how it's being built, SaaS, IT services, everything is getting disrupted. Hi, Praveen. So you're seeing AI adoption inside tech firms up close. So what's changed in the last 2 years?
Hi, Vignesh. I'll go straight to the topic. Last, like, we can see, like, pre-AI, what we used to do, and post-AI, what we're exactly doing.
Mm,
Something like a few years back, what we used to do. This used to be a flow. Given a problem to implement a particular feature, the first thing we
mm,
used to do was uh, try to look over Stack Overflow and all those things to figure out how to code, what to do. We used to know the syntax of the language we were going to implement in. For example, if you take an example of Golang or C, you had to understand all the syntax. You had to understand what unit test framework you're going to use, how you're going
mm,
to use that unit test framework. You might be using something like test-driven development or some behavior-driven test frameworks and all those things. The whole idea was there was a lot of prep work. Once that prep work was done, you'll start implementing, and that implementation is going to take a few months. And once implementation is done, you'll have to do a bunch of testing, which is again going to take a few months. So the whole cycle has collapsed with AI. What we do
mm.
is currently in pure English. It's just pure English. The same way how we are having a conversation with you. I'll have a conversation with an AI agent, and
Mm,
I'll just tell it what I want.
mm,
And the AI agent is going to give me the complete code snippet and all those things. Now, having said that, it is highly possible that the AI agent can give things what it thinks is the right way to implement. The whole problem shifted from actually knowing the syntax, writing code, to telling the agent what we want clearly. So we have to communicate clearly what exactly we want and not ask some vague questions. Instead, pin down the questions. For example, there's something called spec driven development. What we do. So there's a spec. That spec, it might be a few pages long. It's written in plain English, but it will have the whole. Let's say I'm working on a new feature, which used to take a few months. Let's say it might take a year to implement it.
mm.
The whole thought process of how I would implement it in plain English is put in that document, and that document will be given to an AI agent. I'm just simplifying it a lot, and then the AI agent is going to do the whole code and all those things. Though, so the job switched from writing code to actually going to and fro with the AI agent and reviewing the code. More than writing code, now we are just seeing the code and then reviewing it.
No, this is path-breaking and this is revolutionary. So how has software engineering changed after AI tools like ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, etc.?
So all these tools which you mentioned are going to write code. Yes, they're going to write a bunch of code. Like, also in a few cases, they're going to write a few 100,000 lines of code. That's a
Mm,
lot of code,
mm,
but they can do all of that. But it is all up to the humans to decide. That is, even now, the engineers to decide the finer details. For example, uh, AI agent is going to assume something and write something really fast. We have to reduce the assumption, but even though we give it a lot of instructions, it is going to spit out some code. But there are some trade-offs which can happen. There can be some security trade-offs. An example might be that it might implement something related to the database, but I might, when I review the code, I'll ask it that what happens if 100 users try to use the same record in the table, what will happen? It might not work well. So all these trade-offs and all those things, it still depends on the engineer. So the only way for the AI agent to do things right or to be successful now is to ask the right questions, remove the vagueness, and the whole idea is we have to always think in terms of product. So everyone is a PM now, where we are all product managers. And as a PM, how do we want that product to be implemented has to be thought deeply by every engineer before we interact with AI. Otherwise, AI is going to do a lot of things, and the engineers get confused.
And the
So
job of a
security, reliability, and all those things has to be thought by the engineer.
Got it. So the job of a product manager may become extinct in the next few years. Interesting.
No,
So
no, no. It's
can
not going
few
to happen that way. I'll
mm,
just correct you. A technical
ah,
product manager do
okay.
not need to communicate with engineers to get their features implemented. Instead, a technical
Oh,
product manager who knows the product really well, who knows all the functional and non-functional requirements, understands it really well, can talk with that AI agent and maybe have one QA and one software engineer just to help him or her and will be able to succeed.
got it. Interesting. So can few engineers now build more, much more?
Yes, few engineers can build quite a lot more in the sense what I used to do in months, I'm doing it in weeks. Like, for example, something
Wow.
which would take me 6 to 9 months, I'm actually doing it in a week, maybe within a month or something of that sort. It's like even now I see 10x productivity. Uh,
Mm,
so less engineers will of course complete more things for sure.
got it. So let's get into the investing angle now. So let's talk about the winners and losers. So what type of companies could benefit the most from AI based on what you have seen?
So the first companies we all know which are benefiting are mostly US based companies. By US based companies, I'm also including all the chip makers and all those things. Most of the makers are in Southeast Asia. So if you take a
Mm,
company, for example, if for example, let's say chips, the reason why chip companies benefit the most are AI needs a lot of compute. Since
mm,
it needs a lot of compute, it needs a lot of GPU, and now it also needs CPU. So
mm,
if you think about it, let's look at the first place where value will get created, at least in terms of stock market. The first thing are going to be these chip companies like Nvidia, ARM, AMD, and all those things. We have heard about it, but that chips has to be deployed somewhere for people to use it. So the
mm,
next place the value is going is in this big cloud providers like Google, like GCP, AWS, Azure, and all those things, because the chips has to be deployed there for people to use it. So those are the two main places where value is being created. But if you look deeper inside, most of these cloud providers like Google, like GCP, more than Google, like GCP or AWS, they're just data centers. What does the
mm,
data center needs? Data
mm,
center is something which can be used by applications or people, right? So let's
mm,
consider an example of a data center. What the data center needs? Data center needs chips, and chips are being given by AMD or Nvidia or anything of that sort. So once you
mm,
have that, the next part, what does it need? It needs power. How will it get power? So then there are a bunch of
mm,
power companies and all those things. US or no country has that much power to uh, power up all the demand which comes in. So then you have companies like Bloom Energy and all those things, which now have some innovative ways to provide power. Let's take another value chain where you have chip, now you had power, but you need memory, because a lot of things happen in memory. Then there's bunch of companies which give that memory. For example, there is Samsung. Samsung has a couple of good companies which does that. Then there's Micron. They take care
mm,
of memory. Now memory is done, power is done, chips are done. What else should happen? Networking. You have bunch of
mm,
racks of GPUs or CPUs. They have to be networked in the right way.
mm,
So networking companies will go up. There's bunch of networking companies too. So it all depends. Like if you look at it, uh, there are a bunch of companies which are making money or which are increasing their earnings because of the AI boom.
got it. So even in India, data center could be a billion-dollar opportunity. And there are companies that are setting up the infrastructure, like uh, Cummins, ABB, that could be a beneficiary, and maybe power companies in India could also have a boost based on what you have said. And coming to business models, so which business models are at risk because of AI? So do you think IT services sector as a whole is over? Uh, the stocks have been hammered the last 2 or 3 months in India,
So
TCS,
yeah.
Cognizance.
So let's understand the business model of what is IT for IT services. It is usually labor arbitrage, right? So to
Mm,
pay a person in US, it might be 2 or 3 times more of what you want to pay a person in India. So it's a labor arbitrage business. In a few cases, it is repetitive white collar jobs and all those things are a part of IT services, Indian IT services business. I'm not saying the whole thing, but are a part of it. So those
Majority.
work, yeah, those work which will be repetitive white collar job. By repetitive, I mean repetitive coding jobs that will
Mm,
get automated for sure.
mm,
Labor arbitrage will also, there'll be an impact on that. The reason being, this has been just like, let's say this Anthropic has something called Claude Code. Claude Code was released sometime back but from the last 1 year, it's just been a year where the adoption is like crazy. Like a lot of people are adopting it. As and when it increases, people can have agents do a bunch of things rather than use labor arbitrage, get someone from India to work on it. So as and when something like Claude Code matures, labor arbitrage and all those things will also not work out. So you can just have agents do a bunch of things. So currently, like for example, let's say when I do my work, I might have a couple of agents just because there's context switching and I'm not really confident on giving my credentials to the agent. But things are moving really fast. In future, I can have 10 or 20 agents, and these agents can run over multiple days. I can give complex problems, and even now they run over. Like when I sit with an agent, easily it can do its thinking and write a bunch of complex things for 30 minutes. Like in my case, I don't give long running problems, but let's say for 30 minutes to 1 hour by itself, think through it and spit out a bunch of code. But people will start using more and more agents, and these agents can communicate with each other and all those things. So I don't think labor arbitrage or entry level knowledge work will all get impacted. So I feel that IT services will get impacted. You don't need so many people.
yeah, so the days of billing and adding a lot of headcount and generating revenue could be over in the long term. So one of my friends is investing in TCS for long term. So do you have anything to tell him?
So
So
company
this
might do well,
price.
right?
Oh,
No, company
because
might do well.
they
So for
they
example,
have huge cash reserve. They are debt free. The company has very big earning potential. Already $1 billion revenue company. So companies with cash, but primary business is IT services. So what kind of impact or what kind of growth they can get?
it is difficult to say what will happen, but one thing is
Mm,
for sure: we don't need so many people. So maybe
mm,
the revenue might not increase at a fast rate. Even now, I think for IT services, it's single digit revenue increase.
mm,
Maybe the margins will increase just because they don't need those many people, and with less
mm.
people, they'll do the same amount of work, if not more. So maybe the
Got
revenue
it.
will not increase at a higher speed, but the margins and all those things will improve quite a bit. And
Mm.
Indian people, like, they can easily get reskilled to uh,
Use
be
AI.
IT enabled or IT native, so they should do well. Yeah, I'm not sure. It's difficult for entry level engineers to get a job, but people
Got
who are
it.
already set might be good.
Yeah. So FY 27 guidance was initially 2 to 4%. So many of these IT companies gave a guidance of 0 to 2% because of uncertainty and all the reasons you have mentioned. So,
So
so
one
any.
point I want to add is take a look at the IT services company in India. They're growing at 2 to 4%. Like something like Google, Amazon, and all those things, they're growing at double digits. Like Google might be $5 trillion market cap. It is still able to grow at double digits. So we understand what is going wrong.
Mm, got it.
Innovation is the key.
So probably why Parag Parikh and his PPFAs is investing a lot in US companies. So 35% of the fund is going to US companies. So
Mhm.
among the US companies, which ones look the strongest in the areas today?
So we can take the way I explained it before. For example, if you take the chip companies, Nvidia is really good. We all know it's been
Mm,
like Nvidia makes GPUs.
mm,
GPU is the main thing which is needed for training, even for inference we need it. So Nvidia for sure. If you go a bit lower down the chain, We have AMD. AMD also will do well. I think AMD's Nvidia went up really fast. Now I think the other ones like AMD, ARM are doing well. If you take memory, there are few. All these things depend on capacity because there's hardware element to it. So to build all these chips, TSMC, Taiwan Semiconductors is the one doing it. So they are doing
Mm,
really well. Let's say memory. If I have to pick up names, Micron is doing really well. Other ones are like there's also an ETF called DRAM. You can take a look at it. It has bunch of memory chips just for memory. There's an ETF and it's been really popular. It's doing really well. Then again, like networking, if you come in AVGO,
mm,
which bought VMware, AVGO does. It's Broadcom. It's basically Broadcom. That does really well.
mm,
It just helps in networking once you have all the GPUs on the rack. What else is
mm,
there? Then power generating companies, something like Bloom Energy or something of that sort will do well. So all the whole ecosystem is doing well. Now coming to enterprise applications, let's call them SaaS companies. None of them are doing well. For example, if you take not a SaaS company, an enterprise company like Palantir is
mm,
doing extremely well because they are AI native. They've been
mm,
using a bunch of
mm.
uh, AI to do their work, which is fine. They're doing really well. But other companies, like for example, let's say Microsoft has a bunch of
HubSpot.
B2
Yeah.
HubSpot, take something like
There's no.
Workday,
Mm,
ServiceNow, all those things, they're not doing that great. I think in future, once I think we're still at the layer where we're still building out the data centers and all those things, but finally all the applications will become AI enabled, and I think it's going to happen really fast. Once that happens, maybe the B2B companies or the SaaS companies will do well. There are other challenges in SaaS companies, like most of the SaaS companies get revenue per seat or something of that sort, right? The seat count is not increasing because people are not hiring. So
mm.
there are a few challenges,
Yeah, Zoom
but
in
the SaaS
first.
company,
Zoom in first a very good story. Stock down
yeah.
from 90% down from its IPO price. Seed-based billing is over.
Yes. So let's see whether they do well or not. But currently, it's all the chip companies, the networking companies, the cloud, the mega scalers, hyperscalers is what we call. They are doing really well. I forgot the main companies are the companies which are doing extremely well, which are not yet
Mm,
IPO'd. The
mm.
language models like ChatGPT, like
Anthropic.
Anthropic, are doing extremely well.
Yeah, they are the soul.
Mhm.
So, when it comes to right, so can we say that so we moved from services towards SaaS. Now there is a move towards generative AI, and in future quantum computing could come. So is the SaaS story kind of over, or can companies that embrace AI continue to do well?
So, uh, when SaaS companies started, let's say in 2010 or something, there were a lot of companies where you actually needed SaaS. Some the bigger companies where things were complex, and that's why you had software as a service or something of that sort. There were a lot of smaller companies which I don't want to name, but there's a lot of smaller companies which were solving an extremely not so complex problems. They're pretty easy, like easy problems to solve. Maybe something like uh, all these
Well,
companies will get
calendar invite, something like
yeah.
Calendly.
So, yeah, all those things, they're gone. They're not going to happen. People can use
Mm,
AI to do something
mm,
something really quick just for that company. You don't want all the features just for their company to give a solution. It's very easy to do it with AI coding tools. So, so the complex SaaS companies like Salesforce, Workday, and all those things, ServiceNow is a great example. They'll become AI native and they should do well, but I don't know
mm,
whether they'll have the same growth, same
mm,
same way market will rate them. I'm not sure. The
mm.
biggest
Got it.
problem is in most of these SaaS companies, they used to get recurring revenues, which was extremely predictable. Based on
Mm,
that predictability, they used to get a heavy terminal value, and now they're
mm,
not getting that, and that's where all the valuations go for a toss. I think it's wait and watch mode, but I think the bigger ones should survive.
mm. Got it. So within India, are there any interesting companies in the listed space? Anything you're watching?
Within India, I actually don't know, but there's one company called MTAR.
Wow.
It
Yeah.
does uh, it does some data centers. It gives some data center solutions. I think it has a tie up with Bloom Energy of US, and it's trying to use their technology or something of that sort to build data centers in India.
Mm,
Except that I don't know of any company under AI theme. I mean, we can always dig deeper and then say that because they're doing like you'll go because they're building some turbines or something which will which needs to power the data centers, it will do well. But again, except MTAR, I don't see anything much. But yeah, I don't look at too many micro caps or something of that sort. There might be a few. I think TD Power does a bunch of
yeah.
things. Aeroflex
Yeah.
Industries does a bunch of things, but MTAR is pretty good.
Yeah, I actually had a list of interesting companies in India that are listed. So basically, as I said, a data center could be a big opportunity for companies like ABB, Cummins. They all could do really well. And then AI-enabled services. Uh, Company like Accenture is getting a lot of deals. So companies that have been started as a product startup, many
Mhm,
companies, AI native product companies are struggling. But I see a lot of AI services company making tons and tons of money, which is where probably the TCS, the Cognizance, and the Infosys may cash in the long term. Because you still need, not everyone can use prompts and deploy everything on their own. So they still need someone to provide services. So that is
mhm.
one area where I could see a lot of companies making millions of dollars, small AI services companies that are doing really well. And then there are companies like Sterlite Technologies, Tejas
Mhm.
Networks in this space. And we also have few more companies in the network, BTV network, L&T Techno Electric. So all these companies, there is one more company called Sirma. So all these companies are trying to prove themselves in the GenAI space. Again, a disclaimer, please do your own due diligence. This video is for educational purpose. So please do your own due diligence before investing in any of these stocks. So coming to India opportunity, so can India become a major AI player? So we do not have any native Gen AI, and then we are only on top of Gen AI tools like ChatGPT. We are building tools. So this is the first question. Yeah.
So yes, India can definitely become, but it's going to take some time. For example, US currently dominates in foundational models, right? There's no foundational models. Maybe China has some, but
Mm,
India has none.
mm,
Compute, all the chip design and all those things, US dominates it, and that's where all the money is being made. And then there's some
mm,
deep research and all those things where, again, US dominates. For example, in genomics, biotech, and all those things, they're using AI to do bunch of analysis. Again, US dominates. India can only do it in application layer. So AI enabled services, AI enabled applications, AI enabled businesses, and all those things. I'm not sure how it's going to pan out, but India will uh, definitely,
embrace AI and do well
yes,
on
embrace
that
AI for
aspect.
sure. So they have huge young talent, and young talent is very quick in embracing new tools. So it will be mostly on the application layer. I don't see. I mean, everyone is saying it's going to be in the application layer, but how and what kind of value will be created is wait and watch mode.
So Nifty 50 keeps changing. So if you look at the US, right, so a lot of manufacturing companies were in the top 10 in terms of market cap. Now we see Amazon, Meta, Alphabet, all are there in the top 10 in terms of market cap. So are we going to witness such a change in India in the next 10 years? So are there
I don't.
AI native or AI enabled companies that could become that big to command top 10 in the market?
So I don't see that happening still because it has to be an innovation economy, so it cannot happen. But I see on your other question, I see that India is dominated by finance companies, at
Mm,
least top 10. I think HDFC and ICICI Bank might be in there. I'm pretty
yeah.
sure these banks are going to use AI a lot to do a bunch of things. For example, customer relationship, customer call,
Mm,
fraud detection. For example, for fraud detection, you had to do a bunch of things to detect patterns. But with AI, if you give it the data, if you give it a bunch of data, it can do the analysis over days, detect patterns, and all those things. So I feel that they'll get extremely efficient and all those things.
mm,
But yeah, I don't see the composition
changing
switch by a lot.
from your
Yeah, but
point of view. So, what
yeah.
skills become more valuable in an AI world?
Uh, so anything which has to do with memorization. For example, if you look at doctors and all those things, there are a bunch of things which has to be memorized in terms of tablet names, in terms of disease and all those things. You can yourself give symptoms to a chat GPT or something, and then it
Mm,
gives you a bunch of good information, very good information. So that is one where I see, I mean, you can't automate it, but anything which has to be, which has to, which has to have memorization can, you don't need to memorize that much, and that becomes less valuable. What becomes more valuable is easier to answer. It's just problem solving skills where given a problem, how will you solve it with AI, without AI, by writing code, without
got
writing
it,
code,
got it.
doesn't matter. Just
Mm,
problem solving. Think as empathize your user, go through the whole flow, use AI
mm,
to
mm,
solve what has to be done. So there's creativity, leadership, and all these soft
mm,
skills are something which cannot be replaced by AI.
mm, got it. So, what are the one thing still investors do not understand about AI? And yeah, is there anything that can happen in India in terms of investing through AI? Do you use any AI tools
Oh.
now to look at your portfolio, or is it too early?
I'll answer the first question. I think your first
Mm,
question was what investors don't understand about AI, right?
mm,
Uh, so what will AI, a better way to answer it is, let's say software. If you take software as an example, software helped reduce cost for distributing something, right? You had software,
mm,
and then since like something like Zomato or something of that sort,
mm,
since you don't have atoms, it was all bit based, so you could easily distribute something. If you take
mm,
internet, it was easy to communicate among everyone because everyone were in one network called www web
mm,
or something, and it helped you in communicating. So distribution was
mm,
taken care, communicating across all the people was taken up. Then came something called cloud, right? Cloud computing and all those things where people said don't use compute, everything is built by these hyperscalers, just come in and take care of it. So all these things was taken care. I think in terms of AI may reduce the cost of for example intelligence or cognition is what they say. For example, you don't have to be that smart, that intelligent to do a bunch of
mm,
things. AI is doing the thinking and all those things. So the cost of getting extremely smart people working on something is no longer needed. If someone can
can
think
use AI
through
efficiently.
AI efficiency and can, let's say, in terms of software, can think through how the product has to be built so that customers will enjoy it, is a better skill set than being extremely smart in probably writing code or something of that sort. So I think the cost of intelligence or cognition uh, will will reduce with AI. What was your other
Mm.
question?
About using AI for investing. So, are you using it, or is it too early?
I
How is it?
uh, I don't use it, but people do use it. I use AI for research. I mean, for investing in the sense I don't do any automatic trades or something with AI, but you can build bots to do that. AI
Mm.
does help me research
And
companies.
research. Okay,
Yeah, the
shortlist
problem
companies,
is,
research them.
yeah, research them. The problem is if they're smaller companies, there might not be that much of public data out there, so it gets a bit difficult to research, but it will help you understand the whole ecosystem. Like, for example, where the value is currently getting created, what's happening
Mm.
with. memory, networking, cooling, coolants. I mean, this bunch of things. How it all works together and all those things will help you understand. So basically, it helps me understand the industry.
Got it. So yeah, thanks a lot, Praveen, for patiently answering all the questions. I'm sure this interview is going to be extremely informative for people trying to learn about AI and also how to use it in investing. Uh, so if you like this video, share this with others, subscribe to our channel. We'll have more exciting content related to AI, investing, and hot sectors. Thanks, everyone. Subscribe to the channel. Thanks, Praveen.
Thank you all.